go through our intermediate course, third unit. Here, life skills. First part, 3.1, challenges and problems that we face. Goals. Our goals here talk about challenges and success, talk about ability. Vocabulary and listening. Challenges and success. Exercise 1. Work with a partner. What do you find difficult to resist? For example, buying clothes, spending too much time online, eating junk food. Now with your partner, discuss these questions and give your written answer. Now let's look at the possible answers. I find spending too much time online really difficult because, I'm quite addicted to social media as others, and I think that it's bad. I know that it's bad. That's why I try to resist. I try to force myself not to go to social media sites often, but it's really hard. Exercise 2. Work with a partner. Look at the photo. Children are trying to resist the temptation to eat the marshmallow. Which child do you think is more likely to succeed and why? Pause the video and look at the pictures in your book and try to find who is more likely to succeed in this challenge. As you see, the first child is less likely to achieve success because he's just really staring at the marshmallow and just really ready to eat it. And in the second one, the second kid is really smart. He's just trying to distract his opinion. He tried to distract his thought away from the marshmallow and trying to win this urge to eat the marshmallow. Exercise 3. Listen to the first part of a talk on the marshmallow test results. What was Michelle's experiment? Now listen to the audio and try to find out what happened there.
Audio 3.1.
In the late 1960s, Walter Mischel, a professor at Stanford University in the United States, carried out an experiment which is known as the marshmallow test. He and his researchers took 4-year-old children into a room, all by themselves, and put a marshmallow in front of them. Then, the researcher told the child, "You can eat this now if you want, or if you can be patient and wait until I come back and not eat the marshmallow, you can have 2 marshmallows as a reward." Then, they left the child alone with the marshmallow for 15 minutes. Of course, they filmed what the children did.
And now let's look at the answers. And as you see, in the late 1960s, Walter Mischel, a professor at Stanford University in the United States, carried out an experiment which is known as the marshmallow test. He and his researchers took 4-year-old children into a room all by themselves and put a marshmallow in front of them. Then the researchers told the child, "You can eat this marshmallow now if you want, or if you can be patient and wait until I come back and not eat the marshmallow, you can have 2 marshmallows as a reward." Then they left the child alone with the marshmallow for 15 minutes. Of course, they filmed what the children did. Exercise 4. Listen to the rest of the talk and answer the questions. Listen to the audio and try to answer these given questions.
Audio 3.2.
15 minutes is a long time if you're a child and you really like marshmallows. So, what happened? How many children do you think ate the marshmallow? Well, nearly 70% ate it. Some ate it straight away. Some managed to wait a while before giving in. Only 30% of the children were able to resist temptation and wait the full 15 minutes. Okay, the researchers found out that most of the children preferred to have something immediately to having to wait for what they really wanted. Not that surprising, really. But some years later, they discovered something much more interesting. When these children became adults, the researchers contacted them again. And what do you think they discovered? All the children who were able to wait were very successful. They had done well at school, had good relationships, and were healthy. They earned a lot more money, too. The children who couldn't resist temptation were generally less successful in all these ways. In the original marshmallow test, the researchers noticed that children who managed not to eat the marshmallow were using some effective techniques. Those children who stared at the marshmallow or picked it up or smelt it always ended up eating it. The successful children found a way to deal with the problem by looking away from the marshmallow or covering their eyes. Watching the successful children made the researchers realize that the important thing was to avoid thinking about the marshmallow at all. Then the children didn't have to make an effort not to eat it. In a later experiment, Michel proved that when he taught the children some simple techniques, such as imagining the marshmallow wasn't real, that it was just a picture of a marshmallow, nearly all the children succeeded in waiting the full 15 minutes. So, everyone can learn to wait if they want to. This is important because this experiment isn't just about waiting for a marshmallow. If you can wait for a marshmallow, then you'll be able to choose to study rather than watch TV, knowing it's better for your future. You'll succeed in saving up money for something you really want, rather than spending it without thinking. And, in this way, you will be able to make better decisions about your future, and eventually get a better and higher paid job.
Now let's look at the answers. 1. How long did the children have to wait without eating the marshmallow? It was 15 minutes. 2. How many of them failed the test? It's 70%. 3. In what ways were children who didn't eat the marshmallow more successful later in life? They did well at school, had good relationships, were healthy, and had good jobs. 4. How did the successful children manage not to eat the marshmallow? By looking away or covering their eyes. 5. Why is it important to be able to wait for something you want? Because you are able to make choices which will be more beneficial in the long run later. Exercise 5. Complete the phrases in the text with the verbs in the box in the correct form, and then listen, check your answers. Pause the video and try to fill the gaps in the paragraph in the text with the words here, and after this listen to the audio and try to check your answers one more time. Now let's check the answers. The marshmallow test. In the marshmallow test, researchers left 4-year-old children alone in a room with a marshmallow. If the children managed to resist temptation and not eat the marshmallow, the researchers promised them a reward of 2 marshmallows. However, most of the children found it difficult to be patient and gave in before the time was up. They preferred to have something immediately rather than wait for what they really wanted. The researchers found that as adults, those children who could rise to the challenge were generally much more successful than the others. The best technique was to avoid thinking about the marshmallow at all. The successful children dealt with the problem by looking away or covering their eyes. If they didn't think about the marshmallow, they didn't have to make an effort not to eat it. When Michel taught a different set of children with this technique, nearly all the children succeeded in waiting the full time. Learning these techniques can help in adult life because being able to wait helps us to make the right choices. Pronunciation, word stress. Now we have to try to improve our pronunciation and just see how words are stressed. Exercise 6a. Work with a partner, say the verbs in the box aloud and mark the stress on each verb. Pause the video and try to read the words in the correct way and to mark the stress there. As you see, here the words achieve, avoid, manage, observe, prefer, resist, succeed. Exercise 6b. What is the most common stress pattern in verbs with 2 syllables? Now you have to find what most common stress patterns you can see in 2-syllable words. And now let's look at the answer. As you see, 2-syllable verbs are usually stressed on the 2nd syllable. All the verbs in exercise 6a except manage fits this pattern. Exercise 6c. Listen, check, and repeat. Now you have to listen to the audio, check your answers, and repeat the structure words one more time to increase your level of pronunciation.
Audio 3.4.
Achieve. Avoid. Manage. Observe. Prefer. Resist. Succeed.
Exercise 7. Work with a partner and discuss the questions. Pause the video and try to answer these questions in a written form. Now let's look at the possible answers. 1. What kind of things do children find hard to wait for? Well, most of them, these are toys, this may be sweet, this may be anything that gives pleasure to children. It can be anything from ranging from toys, as we said, sweets, and clothes, maybe buying new things. 2. What happens if children get everything they want immediately? Well, in my opinion, it's a bad idea to give everything to them immediately because, well, they will not have patience, they will not have work ethics, it will lead to a lot of bad habits being formed, a lot of bad characters, features being created. 3. How can children learn to be patient? Well, it's just parents' responsibility to teach and to explain children what is this about. And you cannot have everything in life whenever you want, like instantly. That's why it's just really important to teach children how to be patient and to learn patience. And how it can be done? Well, it can be done through periods of games. Like, for example, if you wait for 2 days, I will give you a new toy. If you wait for 3 days, I'll give you a bigger toy. And through these techniques. Exercise 4, the fourth part, what techniques do you use when you need to resist temptation? For example, avoid thinking about it, promise yourself a reward later. Well, I just avoid thinking about it completely and I just try to change my state into another state so that I will not think about it ever. Grammar and speaking ability. Now here we have exercise 8, read the information in the grammar focus box, match sentences A to E to 1 to 5. In this box, pause the video and try to do this exercise yourself independently in a written form. Grammar focus, ability, present and past. To talk about general ability, we use can, can't plus infinitive or are, am, I, is, able to. And now as you see, we have for present tense, we use can, can't or to be able to in the present form. Examples are I can swim, I can't run fast, I'm able to read quickly. To talk about doing or not doing something with some difficulty, we use don't, doesn't, manage to, infinitive, succeed in ing. So if we are talking about some action that involves difficulties, it involves effort, we use manage to and succeed in structure. For example, I managed to do all my tasks on time. I don't manage to do this exercise today. I succeeded in doing this book, or I succeeded in reading this book. I didn't succeed in listening to this podcast. In the past, we use could, couldn't, or was, wasn't, weren't able to, plus infinitive for general ability. For example, I could run, I couldn't swim. I was able to run, I wasn't able to swim. And B was were able to on a specific occasion, meaning in certain context, in certain situation, only one time. For example, the test was really hard, but I was able to pass this. C, didn't manage to or managed to succeed in, succeeded in with some difficulty on a specific past occasion. As you see, here, if difficulty is involved, we have to use manage to or succeed in past form. The test was really hard, but I managed to pass it. The test was really hard, but I succeeded in passing this. And here, future. To talk about future ability, we use will, want, plus be able to, plus infinite general ability on a specific future occasion. As you see, we use will won't be able to for general ability and for specific ability of specific situation. For example, in the future, I will be able to travel to foreign countries, or in tomorrow I will have really important test. I hope I will be able to pass this test. Will won't manage to plus infinitive will won't succeed in plus ing with some difficulty on a specific future occasion. As you see, if the hard or difficulty or challenge is involved, we have to use manage to or succeed in. An example is, if you work hard, I'm sure you will manage to get the grades that you need. Exercise 9a. Work with a partner. Complete the tips in the block using can, can't, could, couldn't, not manage to, not succeed in, or not be able to in the correct form. Pause the video and try to fill the structures, fill the gaps in this paragraph or article, and finish this, complete this on your own. Now let's look at the answers one by one. How to succeed. Remember that you can choose to resist temptation if you want to. Just because you weren't able to stop yourself yesterday doesn't mean you will never do it. Think about something else. If you succeed in turning your attention away from the chocolate for a while, you may forget about it altogether. Stop for a minute. Perhaps you felt you couldn't spare your time, the time to go for a run yesterday, but if you stopped and really thought about it, you would see it was much more important than many of the things you did manage to do. Think ahead, plan for the future, and you will succeed in achieving your goals. Never buy things on impulse. Go home and think about it. If you really like it, you will still be able to buy it tomorrow or next week. Spend time with people who are able to resist temptations themselves. Pick up some valuable lessons by observing someone whose patience you admire. Exercise 9b. Work with a partner or in small groups. Which are the most successful tips? Put them in order of usefulness. Now you have to work with your partner or in small groups and look at the tips and put them in order of, for yourself, in your opinion, which one is most important, which one is least important, and just put them in descending order from the most important to the least important. Pause the video and try to do this exercise in a written form. Exercise 10. Task. Work with a partner. Tell your partner about something you can do now that you couldn't do a few years ago, a time when you succeeded in resisting temptation, a time when you managed to deal with a problem successfully or make the right choice, something you hope you will be able to do in the future and how you plan to do it. Pause the video and try to answer these questions in a written form also. Now let's look at the possible answers. Well, I couldn't play, or I couldn't act in front of camera a few years ago, but I developed the skills. Now I can I can behave properly in front of a camera. Well, I'm resisting temptation now, even now. In the past, I was really fragile to watching movies. I couldn't stop myself. I was addicted. Now I haven't watched for even a month, at least a month, and I'm succeeding in doing this even now. That's the end of our today's lesson. See you in the next lessons.